Good morning and afternoon to those that are on the East Coast. My name is David Derricott. I'm going to be going through a lot of the the MetaStock PowerTools, and actually talk about one of my favorite trading systems that I like to use for my own personal investing. And also, hopefully you can learn some things from the webinar. I'll talk about different indicators that we have, and it's always a lot of really good questions during these webinars, so it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll just kind of get going. First off, I do want to kind of pass out my contact information for those that want to contact me after the webinar. I am in sales, so I do appreciate wanting to help all you out with any questions, product information, account information, and new customer information as well. So this recording will be emailed to you an hour after we finish, so this will be sent to you and you can copy that down as well. But during the webinar, if you do have any questions, let me know and we'll be able to answer those for you in a timely manner. The first part, I've got to go through our disclaimer here that the webinar today is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and accompanying software plugins, and is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using these specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of their software, any trading strategies, or any information in connection with the company. So I just wanted to give anybody that's new to seeing our webinars and MetaStock on a little bit of a background. For those of you that are long-term, short-term, medium-term users of MetaStock, you already know all this. Might be a little repetitive, but I do always like to go through it for people that are investigating MetaStock. We were founded in '82, a person by the name of Steve Akalis. You might recognize him from a few trading books that he wrote, Technical Analysis from A to Z, Volume 1 and 2. Great book, actually talks about almost everything inside of MetaStock, our indicators, patterns, candle patterns, bar patterns, how to interpret the markets and really trade successfully with them. It's actually kind of my go-to dictionary anytime I have a question on an indicator that somebody tells me that I'm not familiar with. It's actually a really good reference book. Highly recommend looking at our website. We have an online version that you can access. And then Reuters actually purchased us in '95. The biggest reason they bought us, or basically the only reason they bought us, is because they wanted to offer their institutional bankers, money managers, financial advisors a really good charting and technical analysis program so they could offer that edge in the market to their customers and kind of make their decisions based on the MetaStock technology. And then we actually released our real-time data feed. In the past, we never did have real-time, but it's all based on the Reuters technology. And then in 2012, we released a new updated version of our data feed called MetaStock Zenith, which is, again, something that the big, huge banks and money managers, financial advisors use. You know, they pay upwards of $1,500 a month for the same thing. It is a light version, but you're also paying only a tenth of the cost is what they would. So it's actually a really good thing that we're able to offer. And then in 2013, we actually bought ourselves back. So we are our own company now, which is really, really good. We basically call our own shots, come out with upgrades a lot quicker. Bug fixes are done a lot faster. Anything that customers give us as far as feedback and enhancements in the software gets done very quickly. So it is something that we're very, very excited about. We've been on our own for going on 6 years now. So definitely has been a very good transition to move away from them. We still do use the Reuters feed, but we are now on our own. So one thing I'm going to talk to you about, actually the biggest thing I wanted to talk to everybody about here today, I'm going to talk about one of the trading systems that I really like called the Turtle Trader method. It's actually a really, really good, simple, easy system to follow. But just giving you a really quick background on it, it was created by a person by the name of Richard Dennis and Bill Eckhart. I should say persons. But it was done in the 1980s, and basically it was kind of a gentleman's bet that trading can be taught to anybody, even if you have financial experience or not. It's a really good trend following system. It works very well for both real-time, end of day, long, short, swing trading, position trading, any market as well. So it's a very universal, all complete trading system with scanning, back testing. It actually puts signals on the charts when to buy and sell. It actually helps you manage your trades as well. So that's why I like it. I like to keep things very, very simple. With that being said, I'm going to actually just hop right into MetaStock now. When you first open MetaStock, the very first thing that you will see is our Power Console. I'm going to close the background chart here because I don't want that to be, whoops, excuse me, showing. Okay, so the very first thing that you will see when you open MetaStock is the list of equities and futures and whatnot that you have available. You can expand these out and actually just click the boxes of which ones you want to open. And that way you can open up multiple symbols at a time. You can do it there, or you can also just come up to the Power Console here. It's always the biggest question that I get when people start with MetaStock. How do I open my symbols? You literally just start typing. Let's say I want to open the SPY, the diamond. You could do like the Dow or the S&P index. Let's say you want to open up Apple. Oops. And a big question I always get is, why am I putting a .o at the end? The reason why is because we actually provide data for global data. So I'm putting a .o because that is the one that is traded on the NASDAQ. Otherwise, you have ones that are traded on the German, Singapore, Australian exchanges, UK, etc. So it's actually something that's really, really good, that we do provide global data. So let's just go in and type in like IBM. We'll do a currency pair. I'm sure we have some currency traders in here. And then you come over here on the right side. You can load your default records. We're loading it about 6 years. You can load as much as you want. If you want to load the max, we're going to obviously give you as much data as we have available from the exchange. And down here you can check on either daily data, or if you want to do weekly, 30 minutes, etc. You can change it over to any time frame that you want. So let's just go ahead and open up our charts. Just come down here and click on Open Charts, and it opens those all very quickly for us. And if I want to organize them on a little better view, I just click this tile icon up here, and it'll organize those how I want them, or how you want them, excuse me. So let's just kind of focus on one chart. We're just going to go to the SPY right now. I'll just maximize that chart. Okay. So up here at the very top, and I'm just going to show you some very basic beginning things that a lot of people always ask me when we first get started. Well, I want to just plot some moving averages and MACDs. You know, if you're learning things in the market and you're just starting to study and learn how to trade, you know, it's always a really good one to start with. It's very simple, easy to understand, is the moving averages and MACDs. So we'll just start with the moving average. I mean, literally you're dragging and dropping it on the chart. There's really not much to it. Let me zoom in just a little bit here. So we'll just drag, drop. As you notice, the colors of the bars change to purple. You release your mouse, change your time periods however you want. And then you can do either a simple, exponential weighted, time series, triangular, variable, volume adjusted. For this demonstration, we're just going to keep it at simple here. So we'll just click on OK. And you do want to make sure that your scaling is on the right side, not the left. Otherwise, it kind of fouls things up. So we'll just change that over to display scale on the left, on the right side. Then you can come over here, zoom in or out, however you want to organize your chart is totally up to you. You can change your chart styles from bars. A lot of people like to do candlesticks nowadays, so you just double click on the price bars, choose candlesticks, and then choose OK, and it'll change it. So again, if you want to come back over here, we'll talk about the MACD for a minute here. It stands for moving average, crossover divergence. You can either lay it over the price candlesticks here again, or we could also just put it in its own window to make things a little cleaner. So we just highlight it over the title bar, and then we'll just release the mouse, click on OK. I'll just leave things at the default for now. And you can use that as your additional indicators. You can see when the moving average is heading up, the MACD indicator itself as well is heading up. So we're waiting for those crossovers to happen in order for us to confirm our trades in order to get in. Now we also have on top of this, one of the big power tools of MetaStock is what we call our expert advisor. Let me back up really quick for those that are kind of new to MetaStock. So again, we have all of these different indicators in here. You can literally go and plot whatever you want. If you like to use momentum indicators, a money flow index is a big one that a lot of people like to use. On balance volume, and then you have your option deltas, beta, thetas, all of that kind of stuff. Price oscillator, channels, so on and so forth. The list goes on. MetaStock actually comes standard with about 200 different types of indicators. You can edit, change those around. A big question I always get is like, well, maybe I don't want to use everything that you guys have. I have my own ideas and I want to use those indicators. You can definitely do that inside the software as well. And we have a whole team that actually will help you create those types of ideas and indicators and systems. If you want to scan on price and volume, you want to scan on candle patterns or whatnot. Most of the stuff is probably going to be in there, especially if you're new to trading and new to using MetaStock. As you get more into medium and advanced levels of using the software, most likely that's when you would probably start to want to create your own types of trading methods.
Hey,
So,
Dave?
yeah.
Well, that was a good segue into this question. Nilsuan on YouTube asked, do I have to have a... Wait, where to go? Oh, he said, is the best trading strategy repeated every time? Or do I have to have at least certain trading strategies for a particular situation?
The one that I'm showing is going to actually be probably the best one that's universal, which is why I like to show it. There are some that are built into MetaStock that are purely designed for options. For example, Don Fishback actually has created one in here called the Option Analyst. That one's going to be specific, for example, this one right here. This is going to be only for US options. But the one that I'm talking about, the Turtle Trader method, you may have heard about the one called the RMO system that's built into MetaStock. Those are very universal ones that you can use with any market, any time frame, and any like stocks, futures, Forex, maybe if you want to do just daily charts or weekly or 30-minute charts. So I like to show one that really is going to be universal for everybody because we all trade differently and we're all going to want to look at the markets in a different way. So that's why I really like to show this one, so everybody can apply it to their trading style and method. And if you have another follow-up question on that, just go ahead and ask and we'll get to that as soon as we possibly can. So like we were saying, on the Expert Advisor, that's actually what plots the buy and sell signals. For those of you that use MetaStock, you're obviously very familiar with that. You literally, if you want to apply something to the chart, in this case I'm going to apply the MACD. So if you notice in your MetaStock, you're going to see a bunch of these Equus systems. These are really learning systems to help you understand how to use those with your trading. And in this case, since we've been talking about the MACD, I'll just apply that one. And then once we're done with this part, I'm going to segue into the Turtle Trader method and how that all works. So then we'll just click on Attach, and then we'll close. And it puts on there, anytime there's a buy or a sell signal on the chart, that it'll put a little pop-up box here. You do have the ability to set up email alerts as well. That's always a big question that I get for somebody that's using MetaStock. And if you want to change it from a daily to a 5-minute or tick chart, whatever you want to do, you just come down here where it says D, change that to daily. These are ones that are preset. Now, if you want to change it to, let's say, a 25-minute chart, you just come over here under Custom. Let me go back and do that again. Sometimes I go a little fast and I do apologize. So you just click on the D, click on Custom, and then we'll change it from minute, but let's just do a 22-minute chart. Click on OK, and that will change. So each candlestick signifies 22 minutes on the chart there. And you can change it back to however you want. We'll just stick it back on daily just for this this webinar. So again, this is a really good way to kind of start out learning how to use MetaStock, learning the markets. The MACD system is a very good, simple, easy one to follow. You know, for example, you got your buy signal based on the last candlestick. Well, let's go and double confirm that with the MACD. The bottom moving average is crossing above the top one, so that would be a good segue into a trade at that point in time. But then on top of it, this is something that MetaStock has that no other program out there has. And I'm just going to take off that line. So when you have a system open that's giving you the buy and sell alerts, you right click on the chart, do Expert Advisor, and we'll choose Commentary. Now I'm just going to attach this to my chart by dragging to the left, and it'll attach itself to the chart. And it just goes through all the information on how to set your trade up. You've got your crossover. The MACD is currently bullish since it's trading above its signal line. The MACD crossed above its signal line 0 periods ago, so on the current bar. There aren't any overbought, oversold conditions or ranges right now. There have been no divergence to signals in the last 5 periods. When there's a divergence, it'll actually color the bars, or sorry, when it's overbought and oversold, it'll actually color the bars red or green. Or if you're on candlesticks, it'll color them red and green when there's an overbought or oversold condition in there. So that's something that's really nice as well. It actually just gives you all the information you could possibly get based on the MACD indicator and how to trade with that. So on top of this, a big thing is like, okay, well, that's all fine and dandy, but how do I know when I should be taking those trades, when I should be looking at these symbols or the stock trades or Forex or whatnot? The way you're going to do that is you're going to use what we call our Explorer tool. So you come up here, you can either, there's two ways of doing it. You can come over to the Power Console and just choose Explorer, which is probably your easiest way to do it. And then you can come in here and choose which system you want to use. Now we're going to have a lot more than you will when you're using MetaStock, because we have all of our add-ons loaded in here, since this is our webinar room for all of our presentations. So let's just come down here and let's start talking about the Turtle Trader method. Again, it's one of my favorites in MetaStock. It comes preloaded. It's not an add-on that you have to buy additionally, which is also why I like to show it. So you just come down here to these ones that are called MS11 Turtle Trader Hybrid. Just check the box. And let's say you want to run a scan on, let's do like the S&P 100. Let's see if it's in here. Oops, not that one. Yeah. So we'll do S&P 100 right here. Okay, and then we'll make sure we use our filter. And then here's the big thing that you want to make sure you're always doing when you're running an explorations. A lot of times you'll run it and you won't see that you're getting any results. Make sure you have checked use the current exchange date and time. If you don't have that checked, it's only going to scan, it's only going to scan up to the day that I had selected. So if I had ran that scan, I'd only get signals as of the 13th, and it wouldn't make any sense to me. So we're not going to do minimum. We're going to do records to load, which is 5 years, 1250, 250 records per year. The reason why I do that, it's kind of just a rule of thumb. A lot of the systems out there, including the Turtle Trader, do require at least 5 years of historical data in order to give you the proper calculations. So if it needs that historical data and you only do minimum, which is 1 year of data, if you're on a daily chart, you're not going to get signals on there, and you'll think that, well, this system's garbage. It's not working at all. And that's not necessarily true. You just want to make sure you have your settings right, and then that way you'll get the proper buy and sell signals. So we'll go ahead and just click on Start Exploration. Again, what I'm doing, I'm scanning on the S&P 100 because I want to find out what stocks are giving me trade signals in order to know which ones are going to be best to set on my watch list to use with the Turtle Trader. And I actually have two selected. Hang on, let me cancel this really quick. It was probably from our past webinar that we did. So hang on just a minute here. Just going to restart this. Yeah, we had two of them selected. That's one thing you want to make sure of when you're running explorations, that you didn't have your previous ones selected. So now we'll go back and restart that again. Again, we're doing S&P 100. Turtle Trader only. As you can see how much faster it goes when you're just running one. That does bring up a good point. A lot of people ask me if you can run multiple explorations. Obviously, the answer is yes. What's really nice with MetaStock is you could take the results from the previous exploration. Let's say you want to scan the Turtle Trader, and then you want to scan the MACD. So you want to take the results of the Turtle Trader and see which ones are triggering signals as well on the MACD indicator. You could actually do both of those at the same time. It'll run one after the other, excuse me. And then it'll give you the results, so you can actually get a really good list to add to your watch list. So you'll kind of see on the list that I've generated here. Let me make it full screen so you can all see it. You've got a bunch of zeros and ones that are built in here. So what I want to do, I just want to sort it by my buy signals. As you can see, it's a lot less than 100. So we'll just use those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to my watch list so I can just quickly open these for y'all. So you just click on, once you have them highlighted, we'll hold down the shift key, click the top one, and then we'll just highlight the bottom one. Right click on the chart or on the list, and then do add to custom list. We'll just create this. We'll do David's TT. And then click OK, and they'll appear now in the Power Console. So let's go ahead and close out of the Explorer. We don't need that for now. But now I want to actually open this with the Turtle Trader method. And what I've done, I've actually created my own little system and template with the Turtle Trader. So the first one we're going to open is Bristol Myers. Now, if you have created your own template, or you're using one of our add-ons, or you're using one of the systems that already comes pre-built with a template, you can come and apply it here. Right now it's on Smart Charts, which is remembering the last settings that you had with MetaStock, which is just that bar chart with volume. There's nothing else on there. So what you do is you come down here to this drop-down menu, and I just called mine Dave's TT. So I'll use that as my template to open. And now I have Bristol Myers on here. So what I did is I actually have the price rate of change, so I can see how much the stock changes from one candlestick to the next. I have the Turtle Trader bands, which are they're like Bollinger Bands. You know, bands are bands. All it does is basically just follows along when you're in a buy or short or a long position, and once it crosses away or goes out of that range, then that's when you would actually set your stops up. It also has what we call the MACD2, and what that does is it allows me to change my moving averages. So your standard MACD will come with a 12.26.9 as a standard setting, but you can come in here now and just change it to whatever you want. You can do 10, 25, 3, or whatever you want to do. I am just going to leave it at the default just for this presentation to keep things simple so we don't get too involved in just changing the settings of indicators here. And then I have a momentum indicator down here at the bottom overlaid on the volume chart. So this basically just helps me confirm my positions. When I'm in a buy or short position, the Turtle Trader and the MACD both help me confirm those. But this is what I was talking about. Once the buy and sell signals are built on the chart, so I had a recent buy signal. It's gone into an uptrend as of 4 candlesticks ago, so I've just recently gotten my first buy signal or entry. So coming over here on what we call our commentary window again, you can see the reason why you're getting the signal is because it had a breakout of a 20-bar high. And that's what the Turtle Trader is based on. It's looking for the 20-bar high and low ranges, and that's when it would get you into the trade. Well, I want to make sure that that is 100% true and going to work with what I'm looking at. So I'm going to use my top indicator for the Turtle Trader band to confirm that. It's crossed over the candlestick. My MACD indicator is heading up, so, along with my momentum, and the price rate of change is all heading up. So that would actually be a good trade to get into. Here's the nice thing with the Turtle Trader method, is it actually sets the sell prices for you. So it's all bases it on the 10-bar sell price, and then it has a second stop price. So if you want to be a little more aggressive, then you can set that second stop price. I typically am always going to use the 10-bar sell price. Once it hits that, that's when I'm going to be out of the trade, because I want to protect my money as much as I possibly can. And as new data gets loaded on this chart, so maybe tomorrow it'll still be in an uptrend and it'll reset my stop prices. So it just continues to do that for you once you're into the trade. Now here's the other thing. We had about 4 stocks that were built that were as a result on buy signals from that exploration. So if I come down here in MetaStock, and this is something that's nice, I don't have to go open the Power Console again and then and then open up and apply my Turtle Trader method. I can just come over here and do next, and it should actually save my settings. Yes, it does. Okay, so then I also had one, a buy signal on, how do you say that? Silaging Corp. So I can go ahead and just skip that, and I can do some checking, see if that's really something I want to get into. Not really. So we'll go ahead and click on the next one as well. And again, so it's just a very simple, easy system to follow. I really, really like this system. There's, again, not much to it. And the nice thing with it is it actually has a really good background story. The person that created, like I said earlier, a person by the name of Richard Dennis, he actually had a gentleman's bet with his coworker. And they both basically said, trading can be taught, and it really can. It really is something that you can definitely teach anybody as long as they're teachable, willing to learn. And so what they did is they had this group of guys that they put an ad in the paper, and I believe they hired about 10 guys to come and work for them at their financial advisor company. They each gave them $500,000 to trade with and taught them this system. Each one of them doubled, some tripled their money in the next year, and they called that group the Turtles. There is actually a book out there. If you're wanting to learn a little more about this, it was created and written by one of the Turtle Traders. His name is Michael C. Covell, and he actually goes through in a lot more detail than I'm able to show you during this hour presentation how to really use it, how to be successful with it. And it's actually a really good read. You can buy it on Amazon for pretty cheap. But again, this is very, very simple, easy trend following system to follow. As you can see, the buy signals in there are very clear. And I always get this question when I'm demonstrating this, although nobody's asked me yet, but why are you getting multiple buy signals in a row? Well, all that does is just confirm that I've made the right decision when getting into my trade, and I can add to my trade if I want to. So maybe I started with just 100 shares and I want to put another couple hundred on there. Okay, yeah, this looks like a good potential trade, so I'm going to stay in longer and reset my stops with my broker platform. So it's just a really easy system to follow. For those of you that have MetaStock and want my template, I'm more than happy to share it with you after the webinar. Just shoot me an email and I'll be happy to send that along for you. So again, like I said, this is an all-around trading system. So what you can also do on top of doing the scanning, we could run a back test. So if you come over here to the system test, now we can select, now we can actually start a back test. Let's just do a, let me find my, there we go. No, I want to do local, so excuse me. Okay, hang on just a second. Oh, okay.
Dave, once you start your test, we do have a question if you want to take it.
I will in just a second once I start the test. So I'm just going to go to North America again. Let's just run a test on the S&P 100. That way you can kind of see how things work. Whoops, I'm in the wrong list. Index constituents. And then you'll come down to the S&P 100. Okay, and then this is how we're going to set up our back test. Like I said, I always recommend using the last 1,250 periods, 5 years. Let's just do long trades at this point. And then we're going to do daily data. We'll come over here to trade options. This is basically just kind of how you look at your reports in the back tester, and you can change those around. You'll see what I mean once I actually show you the reports window. And this is where you can adjust your account size. So if you have $100,000 in your account and you're doing a back test, you want to really do realistic prices. Let's just start with, let's do 20,000. And then at any time I'm going to be trading 30% of my available equity. You can also do transaction cost, number of units. Now you see up here you've got this points only test. That's really geared for if you're doing Forex and if you're doing options. Under here on the broker platform, this is where you can kind of set up your margins. If you want to do, your long initial, maintenance, shorts, basically when you're setting those up, however you want to set those is your call. You can also test based on commissions, and then you also have your slippage over here. And the big thing that I always tell everybody, make sure you're clicking on realistic market prices, or you may not get a realistic back test. But that part is up to you. You can uncheck that and change it to buying at the high or sell on the low, so on and so forth, whatever you want to do. Okay. So then you just come down here, click OK, and then we are going to start the back test. Let me find the Turtle Trader method again. And this is good to kind of help you how well it would have done in a long or short market. If we're really going on an uptrend, if we're in a downtrend, bearish or bullish, really just kind of depends. You said you had a question. Somebody had a question, Greg.
D-Rov asks on YouTube. I've lost it. Oh. He says, which time period is best for intraday trading?
I would probably recommend 30 minutes. I really like that time frame because it's not too choppy. It's a lot smoother than looking at, a 2-minute or 5-minute chart. That's the one I always look at when I'm looking at intraday time frames. I'm always using 30-minute. Hourly works very well too, but I would probably stick with 30 an hour. I wouldn't go any shorter or longer if you're doing intraday.
Additionally, Vincenzo De Nura on YouTube asked, referring to Turtle Trader, does it work today? I'm not sure if I understand that question.
Well, he's probably just asking if it works in today's market, and yes, it does.
Okay.
It still does, and that's really why I like it, because it has continually worked with the market, being if it's a really choppy market, if it's trending, if it's in a very down market, it works either way. And that's what's really nice, and also why Richard Dennis created it as well, because it works with any type of time frame. So getting back into the back test that we just ran. Okay, so then you can kind of organize this, how well you would have done over the course of 5 years using daily data and the Turtle Trader method. So Netflix seemed to do the best. Had a net profit of 55.37, had a percent gain of 27 69%, and then it just goes into like trade profit, so on and so forth. If you want to dive deeper into the actual results of this, then you can kind of go in here and say, okay, I made 55.37, performance was 27%, annualized performance, buy and hold profit. This is kind of nice because you can say, okay, well, if I just did a buy and hold with the same amount of shares, how would that have worked out? You know, you actually made a little bit more on the buy and hold part than you did just using the buy signals based on the turtle trader method. But I don't know a lot of people that do buy and holding lately just because of how choppy the market can be. So, and then it just goes down, total trades, 28, how many were longs, how many were shorts, so you had even number there, your average loss, highest loss, lowest loss, average profit, highest profit, so on and so forth. So it just really gives you all of the information as far as a backtest went and puts more confidence how well a system would do against the stocks that you trade. Again, this one was just the S&P 100. You know, if you're trading like in India, it might do differently. If you're trading in the UK markets, it's probably going to show different results because not every market is going to be the same. And then you have these different tabs. This one, just let me actually maximize this. It looks a little better. Then you have your orders of which ones you actually considered, placed, executed, and it'll tell you if it was a buy or sell, the size, the market, if it was stopped out, so on and so forth. This is really what you're more paying attention to, though, when you're doing back testing. Is everything to the right side is positive? You know, when you have a lot on the negative side, it's not really that gonna pan out that great. But a lot of the times I see that like you have like kind of a horrible back test. Like the MACD doesn't seem to back test very well at all. But lately it does really well, especially when you use it as a confirming indicator. So the back testing does really give you that kind of what if scenario, and it does a good job in explaining and showing that. But you really want to look at like realistic market and kind of see how well it would have done. A lot of times I just have customers that just do look backs on their charts and gauge it that way. And then you have your equity, which is basically point A to point B, mapping out, okay, you started with 20,000, you ended with 26, just under 26. So overall it would have been a decent long-term system there. And then a lot of people always like to know, well, how do I learn the formula language? You know, how is it calculated? If the code is open, it'll actually, on this last tab here, it'll show you the code, and you can copy paste it or edit it around if you wanted to. You know, we don't really care, and obviously the developer doesn't either. If you can add to it and make it better, more power to you. So, and that in a nutshell is the backtester. You know, you could use it for any type of system. You could create your own. You can create different types of complex, simple backtests that are available, and it actually is a really good tool, especially if you're wanting to do a lot of backtesting with MetaStock, because it does have a very powerful backtesting tool. So again, let's go back and run some more explorations on the turtle trader method. So again, we'll come back over here and we'll select the MS11 turtle trader hybrid, and let's change the list that we're going to do. Let's actually run one on, let's do the Canadian market. Let's do the S&P TSX composite. We got 245 on there. Let's see how well it does with that market. I know we have a lot of Canadian customers that use MetaStock, so this would be a good way to show how well it works with different markets. So come back over here, make sure you've got 1250 records loaded. We're going to do daily data. Again, you can come over here and change it to 4 hour, hourly, 30, and if you want to change it even to different time frames, you can do custom and change it that way as well. We'll just stick with daily for now, and then we'll go ahead and just click on Start Exploration. And one thing that I like to point out with MetaStock is you do have the ability to download your data to make your scans a lot faster. So I haven't downloaded the Canadian markets, but if you download your data, your scans go pretty quickly. They don't take too long if you're doing online data, but if you don't have a fast internet connection, then it does take a little bit more time for the system to either run backtests or when you're doing scanning as well. That can make it a little latency. So then you come back over here again and just click on you can organize the column by the buy or sell signals. We'll just go in and create another list here. Actually, let's just open it directly from the chart. I can always just apply my template to it, and I believe it actually just remembers it. Yeah, it does. So we'll just go ahead and close the Explorer window again. This actually let's see, which stock did we open up? Birdwalk turn, looks like. So this one actually did really well. We had a couple buy signals in here. You know, if you came back here to your very first one, you could see how the buy trade monitor laid everything out. You've had a buy signal based on the 20-bar buy breakout, which is why you got your signal there on the chart. Here it also sets your 10-bar sell price and also your second stop price, which is when you should really be out of the trade if it hits that. And then as you go along, you've gotten more buy signals, and you had a third one over a red candlestick. I haven't actually seen that for a long, long time. So we'd have to kind of wait for more data to come through to see if that really would make us get out of the trade. But what's really nice, you could also come over here. Well, let's look at the shorter time frame. Let's look at a 30-minute chart and see how that does. You know, if it kind of made you get out of the trade at that point, then you'd want to exit out. So at this point, if you were looking at a 30-minute chart, you would actually be on the short side instead of the long side. So I'd bet that within the next candlestick or so, you'd be out of that trade. And the biggest thing that I always tell people, you know, when I show this, a lot of the times, well, I shouldn't say a lot of the times, but sometimes people are like, well, this doesn't look like it pans out that well. Well, there's never going to be a perfect trading system out there. It's always something that you have to kind of manipulate and change and kind of coincide with your own style of trading. You know, I have people that I talk to all the time that they're in search of this holy grail, and there really isn't one out there, you know, so kind of stop looking at that point. Make sure you're using what works for you. If it's worked for you in the past and it's not now, maybe you just need to do a little bit of tweaking. Add some other indicators that you may have learned about, or a lot of times people are in different trading rooms that they like to follow the rules of the person running the trading rooms. Well, you could use the turtle trader method for that. All you're going to do is use this as your main entry or your main indicator for getting into the trades, and using a different indicator to get out or confirming your positions. As an example, let's go back to the MACD. Let me see if I still have it up. I'm going to close out of these other charts here. So we were just doing that example of how to open the symbols there. All right, so this one particularly I don't have. Okay, let's go back to that system, or to that, where'd it go? There we go. Okay, so open up that one. Okay, hang on just a second. Okay. Okay, so now we got both of them. You could run them side by side. Right here, I want to actually use the same symbol on this chart, so let me just copy that down real quick. Underscore. There we go. Okay, so let's say you want to use it, you know, another system that somebody may talk to you about in a chat room, or maybe like a Twitter page that you belong to, and you're using the turtle trader method. It's like, okay, here was your first buy signal with the turtle trader method. That was on the 15th. Let's look at the MACD and see how that did. That also was giving you a buy signal as well. So you got both of them confirming the position to get in on a long trade. You know, and that's how I like to use MetaStock. You're not just stuck with one indicator. You can make a layout or a template with multiple indicators on the chart. So it works really well that way, and it's something that I really like to do. I always tell people every time that somebody gets started with MetaStock, it's like, okay, well, you like this one, I may not like it as much. Are there other ones that you recommend? Starting with the MACD is a perfect way to start, because it really is a simple, easy system to follow. There's really not much to it, and that's how you can really make your decisions. A lot of people like to buy a lot of our add-ons that we have available. Well, you could use the turtle trader method to see how well that did with your entries, and then you could use another popular one that a lot of people like to buy is called the Vince for Veracity. That one does a really good job, and they're both trend-following systems, so when the market's agreeing with us, you can definitely use it to make the right decisions. It's definitely something that's a very good system to follow, and I really like it. So we don't have a ton of time left. I'm going to actually hop back over to my PowerPoint here. And this is just actually a quote by Richard Dennis. Trading was much more teachable than I ever imagined. In a strange way, it was almost humbling. It was actually something that he was very, very proud of. And again, as I showed you today, it's a very simple, easy system to follow. There really is not much to it. So we're kind of nearing the end of the webinar, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of talk a little bit more about us again. We've actually won, MetaStock actually has won the Reader's Choice Award. Basically, for those of you that get or read Stocks and Commodities, it has what we call they do a little kind of like questionnaire or survey kind of thing. What software everybody uses, what broker is the best, what data feed, so on and so forth. And for the last 25 years in a row, we've won the best technical analysis software in the category 200 to 400. And with MetaStock Real Time, it's been the last 15 years in a row for anything that's 500 and above. So that's something we really pride ourselves in. We did win last year as well. So it's something we are really, really happy about. Then I always like to show at least one testimonial. We have a partner person by the name of Stephen Cooper. He does a lot of options and stock trading. He has used MetaStock for quite a while, and actually teaches people how to use MetaStock and trade as well. So here's just a quick testimonial from him. Without the ability to see what the broad and individual markets are doing, any trader or investor would be severely handicapped. Charting software is a tool that allows us to do just that, see the markets. MetaStock remains the only charting software I use or recommend. Its extraordinary graphics, functionality, and ease of customization make it the professional tool it is for me. Trading without MetaStock would be like riding one of my motorcycles blindfolded. And that's really what you're wanting to do, is get an edge on the market. Understanding how they work, where you should be getting in, where you should be getting out, which ones are best to trade, what indicator is going to be best to trade. And that's really what MetaStock helps you do. You know, it definitely is a great toolbox. There's anything in there you could possibly want. And if there's something in there that you want and we don't have, you can always create that with the help of our formula writing team. So let's go to pricing information. For those of you that aren't using MetaStock and want to kind of trial it out, we have two different versions. One's a real time, the other is an end of day. And for those of you that attended the webinar, you actually get a really good price discount. You can try the program out for 3 months. You pay for the first month. If you're doing end of day, it's just $59, and you get the second and the third month for free. Plus, we give you free tech support for life for as long as you subscribe and keep MetaStock. And there's also a good training book with videos that go along with it called Unleash the Power of MetaStock. It really does help you set up your charts, run your scans, back testing, explain a lot of the different systems that are in MetaStock and how to really use the scanning functionality that's built into MetaStock. That is a very powerful tool, the software, because you can run multiple scans, or what we call explorations, in the software to really help you limit the time that you're looking for trades and actually get to the trading to help you make money. And then if you're more of a real-time trader, the price is $250. This does not include exchange fees, so depending on the market that you trade, those can range anywhere from a few dollars to $100. It really just depends on what market you trade. Usually if you're trading futures, you do get into the pricey exchange fees. But it's the same offer. You buy the first month, and then your next 2 months are free. Free copy of Unleash the Power of MetaStock as well. But I did want to kind of throw things out there to see if anybody has any additional questions about what we talked about. If there's anything else that I can go through in the software that somebody might, that I may have missed, or that you had a question on and I didn't show today.
On the YouTube side, there are no questions currently.
Okay. Let me look on our GoToWebinar side. I don't have any questions there either, looks like. So yeah, one last chance. If anybody has any other questions about the program, and I can definitely, there's always the big question that I get after I do my webinars is, can I get the template? I have no problem sending you that template. Just send me an email. And again, I'm going to pop open my contact information here. So you have that. You can jot that down. But you all get the recording of the webinar as well here in about an hour. If you had any questions on the parameters of the indicators that I was showing in the webinar today, I can always explain those as well. But I do appreciate everybody taking some time out today of your busy schedules and listening to our webinar. But again, you will be able to go through the recording. And I'll hopefully I hear from you in the future, and hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thank you.